What's up, YouTube? I hope each and every one of you guys are healthy and enjoying life today. In today's video, I'm going to be reviewing the 2024 Mazda CX-50 Turbo Meridian Edition. Huge thank you to Perez over at Safford Mazda of Fredericksburg, Virginia for allowing me to do this video for you guys today. If you are interested in this particular CX-50 or any Mazda product, then I'll be sure to have Ray's information on screen as well as in the description box down below. But with that said, let's get into the video. As the day has progressed, the winds have picked up, so I do apologize in advance for any wind noise in today's video. Just know I have a windsock on the camera and I am trying my best, but unfortunately I cannot control Mother Nature. So just like usual, first I'm going to talk about the exterior and the performance. So like I said, this is a 2024 Mazda CX-50 Turbo Meridian Edition, and this particular one has been painted in Zircon Sand Metallic. But I wanted to preface this video by saying for 2024, Mazda adjusted the steering and the suspension on the CX-50 to help better handling. But this one being the Meridian Edition, you get the satin black hood graphics at the center and on the sides of your hood. And the one in the center says CX-50 Meridian Edition. But this being the Meridian Edition, as standard, you get LED headlights with auto leveling and high beam control, as well as LED turn signals. This is what the front end of the Meridian Edition looks like, and you do get a satin black front grille with your Mazda logo located at the center of it. You also get a metallic gray signature wing, and this is what I'm referring to as your metallic gray signature wing. That is what Mazda calls it. And then coming down just a little bit more, you get a satin black front fascia with satin black outer grills with that honeycomb design. And here's a closer view of what that looks like. And then finishing things off at the bottom of your front bumper, you get that silver front chin. And then, like I said, you get that satin black lower fascia, and that satin black lower fascia leads into your satin black wheel arch moldings. Here's a view of the wheel and tire setup, and I'm going to stand about right here while I explain the wheel and tire. So anyways, with the Meridian Edition, you get these 18-inch black metallic finish wheels, and the wheels are wrapped in 225/60 Falcon Wild Peak all-terrain tires. I'll try to give you a view of the tread pattern on these tires as well as the wheel face. There's the wheel face. Here's a view of the tread pattern on these tires. And while I'm down here kind of being blocked from the wind, I also wanted to mention that as standard with this thing, you get rain sensing wipers as well as a windshield wiper de-icer. But working my way down the side with the Meridian Edition, you get gloss black mirror caps with integrated turn signals. And as standard, these side view mirrors are heated, manual folding, and you will find your blind spot monitoring on the upper left-hand side of your driver's side mirror and on the upper right-hand side of your passenger side mirror. Here's a little side profile shot of the CX-50. So you may notice that you do get silver roof rails at the top. You also get satin black window trim with some satin chrome accenting on your C pillar, or I guess that would be your D pillar. And then you also get body color door handles with keyless access. Just keep in mind though, the keyless access function is only on your front two door handles. The rear two door handles do not get the keyless access function. And then coming to the bottom of all of your passenger doors, you get the satin black door cladding with that silver accenting. Coming on down to the back, I did want to mention that this is where you will find your fuel door. But speaking of the fuel door, one thing about the Turbo that's kind of interesting is that you can fill this up with either regular or premium. But if you fill it up with premium 93 octane, you can see an additional 29 horsepower over if you filled this thing up with regular 87. So I think that is pretty cool. And then here is a rear 3/4 shot of the CX-50. You do get a body color roof spoiler with your integrated third brake light. You also get a rear window defroster, a rear wiper. You get LED taillights, and then trying to hide from the wind a little bit, I did want to show you. You get the chrome badging. Obviously, this being a turbo model, you get the turbo badging on the lower right-hand side of your liftgate. And then underneath your Mazda logo, offset to the right, is where you will find your backup camera. And to the left of that, if you put your hand underneath here and you press, that is going to open up your liftgate. By the way, as standard, you get a power liftgate with height adjustment. So if you want it to open up to about right here, you can set that height adjustment. So anyways, I apologize. I feel like I'm kind of like going through the video quickly, but that's just because the wind will absolutely ruin the video if I just, you know, go through it slowly. So anyways, This is what the trunk area looks like. So you get a grocery bag hook there. You get another one on this side as well. A couple options that we have back here. So this has the $100 cargo mat, which is what this is here. This also has the $225 cargo cover. And last but not least, this has the $110 cargo package, which gives you the cargo blocks and the cargo net. So anyways, moving on from the options part of this thing, you get a little storage cubby here on the passenger side of the trunk. You also get a storage cubby on the driver's side of the trunk, except on the driver's side of the trunk, you will also find a 12-volt power outlet. And then if you lift up on this is where you will find your spare tire. So that is what that looks like down in there. And if you keep lifting, your jack is on the right hand side, like about right there is where you will find your jack. And then also you get a light there, but you can fold these second row seats down for some fold flat storage space. So take a look at this thing. It looks like a door handle. If you pull on that, the second row seats will drop and you get some fold flat storage space for about an additional 4 feet of storage space with the second row seats down. And that's kind of about it for what we got going on in the trunk area. You have actually quite a bit of storage space here in the trunk of the CX-50. So come back up to here, you have those two buttons. The button on the left is going to lock the vehicle. The button on the right is going to drop the power lift gate, and you also get a floodlight on your power lift gate. But pressing on that button right there, the lift gate will begin to close, and we're going to finish things off here at the rear end. So with the Meridian edition, you get a satin black rear bumper with that silver valance that surrounds your dual exhaust system. And with the turbo model, no matter which turbo model CX-50 you get a max tow capacity of 3,500 pounds. And that kind of about does it for the exterior of the Meridian edition. Let me know your opinions on the Meridian edition in the comments down below. I really like this zircon sand metallic. I just did a video with a CX-5 carbon turbo, which also is painted in this color, and I just think it looks really sweet, especially here on the Meridian edition, because you get those all-terrain tires. Just adds to kind of like the desert runner look of this thing, or the off-roady-ish look of the Meridian edition. Let me know your opinions though in the comments down below. But with that stuff out of the way, let's move into performance. Popping open that hood reveals the 2.5 liter turbo 4-cylinder that makes 227 horsepower and 310 pound-feet of torque when running on regular fuel. However, if you filled this thing up with premium, you could see up to 256 horsepower and 320 pound-feet of torque. Either way, it's mated to a 6-speed automatic transmission for a 0 to 60 time in 6.6 seconds. And if you were wondering about fuel economy, you can achieve 23 miles per gallon in the city, 29 miles per gallon on the highway for 25 miles per gallon combined with standard all-wheel drive. I think it's pretty cool that you can get a turbo model and you can either fill it up with regular or premium. And if you're feeling a little frisky that day, you can fill it up with premium and see an additional 29 horsepower without having to do anything but fill it up with some fuel. But if you're enjoying the video so far today, please be sure to give this video a big thumbs up. Please hit that subscribe button. I'm on my journey to 100,000 subscribers, and I cannot reach my goal without your support. So if you're enjoying the video, if you've learned anything from the video, please take a second to like, comment, and subscribe. They're gonna subscribe when they get home, so I'd appreciate it if you do that. But with that stuff out of the way, let's move into the interior. Moving on into the interior, as mentioned earlier in the video, you do get keyless access, so all you have to do is have your key fob in your pocket, walk up to the vehicle, put your hand behind the door handle, and it will unlock. You can also lock it if you run your finger across this little rectangle right here, and now it is locked back up. Most of the key fob is satin black, and then going over the functions on the key fob, you have your lock function, your unlock function, your power liftgate function, and your panic function. But taking a look at the interior, this is the only interior you can get with the Meridian edition, and it is the terracotta leather upholstery. But I am going to step on into the interior, where normally I'll do this part of the video from the exterior, but because of the wind, it's really kind of messing up the video a little bit. So basically what I'm going to do is we're going to take a look at the door panel here. So up top here, you get some vinyl wrapping, some gray trim, then you get some leather that is black with some terracotta accent colored stitching. You have your unlock and your lock functions, a little grab handle here. You have your power side view mirror controls. You get automatic up and down windows at all 4 corners. This button is going to restrict your passenger window privileges. You get a nicely padded, leather wrapped, terracotta colored armrest with a little bit of storage space down here. You also get a spot you could set a water bottle down in there as well. And then your speaker is located there. I also wanted to mention that with these front seats, as standard, you get an 8-way power driver seat with 2-way power lumbar, as well as a 6-way power passenger seat with no lumbar. But now, let's take a listen to what this thing sounds like being fired up from the interior's perspective. That is what it sounds like when you fire this thing up here on the interior. And now what I'm gonna do is basically walk you throughout the entire interior. So coming down to here, you have an HVAC vent, and then going through these controls, this is basically to turn off all the different safety features. And then to the right of that, this is for your traction control system on or off. This is gonna turn your automatic stop start system on or off. Coming down to here, this is going to pop open and or close your power lift gate. The only thing is that when the vehicle is locked, you cannot open your power lift gate. The vehicle has to be unlocked in order to open up the power lift gate. And then you also get 2 memory seat adjustment settings here with the driver's seat. Coming down here, if you flip this thing down that's on the bottom of the steering column, that gives you access into your manual tilting and telescoping steering wheel. So basically, you can push the steering wheel away from you, you can bring the steering wheel towards you, and you can also move the steering wheel up and down until you find your comfortable position. Once it's found, you just lock that thing right back into position. And now, let's take a listen to the turn signal. That is what the turn signal sounds like. And not only is this your turn signal control stock, it is also your headlight control stock. So right now it is in the headlights on position. That is daytime running lights on. That is headlights automatic, and all the way down is headlights off. If you see the button that's on the end of the turn signal control stock, that is going to turn your automatic high beams on or off. Now, zooming back out, this is what your steering wheel looks like. It is a leather-wrapped steering wheel, and you do get steering wheel mounted paddle shifters. Downshift on the left, upshift on the right, and just like any other vehicle, you have your horn at the center. So let's take a listen to the horn. That is what the horn sounds like on the CX-50. Now, walking you throughout the controls here on the steering wheel. Here are your volume controls, and if you click right there, that is going to mute the audio system. Then this, if you push up, is going to bring you forwards on a track. If you push down, that is going to bring you backwards on a track, basically on like your Bluetooth audio or Apple CarPlay stuff. And then if you click the button right there, that is going to switch you between your different audio sources like AM, FM, XM, Bluetooth audio, etc. And then taking a look at these controls, the camera's probably not doing the greatest job at picking them up, but anyways, this right here is to speak to the vehicle as well as pick up on a phone call. And by speak to the vehicle, I mean like, hey, turn the vehicle's HVAC system to 68 degrees, and then it'll do it. And then that right there is to hang up on a phone call. And you see that info button, that is basically going to change what you see there on your 7-inch LCD display, which I'll get into here in a second. I want to finish with the controls on the steering wheel first though. On the right-hand side of the steering wheel, the CX-50 comes standard with Mazda radar cruise control with stop and go. It's basically adaptive cruise control with stop and go, except Mazda likes to put their own little name on it. So anyways, here are your adaptive cruise control settings. And on the exterior, I mentioned that you get rain sensing wipers. So when you flip this down one and you see that that illuminates with that amber light, that means that the automatic the rain sensing wipers are on. So basically, let's say it's drizzling out, right? The window or the windshield wipers are going to wipe slow. But let's say the intensity starts to pick up. Well, the camera up here is basically going to pick up that intensity, and it's going to wipe the washers faster. So it is just, it's very nice. You know what I'm saying? It's just very convenient is the word that I'm looking for. Now, going throughout our display here, or our gauge cluster. So if you see this trip button right here, see where it says 23.A? Watch, now it's changing. Now it's just 23.0, and now it's the odometer. So you have your trip A, trip B information, or your odometer. Let's go into our trip A information, and if I press and hold on the trip button, that button, those values will reset back down to 0. And then these physical controls over here are to brighten the gauge cluster and or dim the gauge cluster, as well as your backlit buttons. Now, going throughout the cluster itself, on the left-hand side, you have your tachometer. At the center, you have your speedometer, but that's also configurable, so I'll get into that in a second. But coming over to here, that is your fuel gauge. That is your coolant temperature gauge. That right there is your fuel range. Then you have the ambient exterior temperature. And then on this side of the screen is your instant fuel economy stuff. And at the center, this stuff is changeable if you click this info button down here. So right now you can see we have our speedometer, drive information stuff. That is for all of your different safety features. And then that right there is the transmission status stuff. So clicking on that info button, you can see now we have our driver assistance stuff and the digital speedometer readout. If I click that again, now it is letting me know that I've got low fuel and it's got my speedometer. Then it's just the needle for the speedometer, drive information, and probably this is the screen that I would like to have on because I like the digital speedometer readout rather than watching that needle. You know what I'm saying? But really, that's kind of about it for what you can do there on that screen. Now, moving over to this screen, this is your 10.25-inch infotainment system with navigation and wireless Apple CarPlay and wireless Android Auto connectivity. So I'm going to go into the home screen here. This is what your home screen looks like. You can see you got your information, entertainment, communication, navigation, and your settings. If you want to control that screen, you have to come down to this scroll knob here. So I'm going to click it to the left, and it's going to put me into my notification screen, which is basically letting me know that I have low fuel. Now, I'm just going to go back into my home screen here. So basically all I did was click to the left, and that brought me into my notification stuff. Now, if I go back out of that, going to bring me back into my home screen. I can go into my information stuff, which is up top here. You can see your fuel efficiency monitor, vehicle status stuff. Click the back button. It's going to bring me back into this screen, and then you can basically go throughout your entertainment stuff, communication stuff, navigation stuff, or your settings. If I go into my settings, you can go in between your different in-vehicle displays, your sound settings, all of these different settings you can read here on screen now. Now, just clicking back out of that, can also go into my home screen, and you can see just a clock. But let's say I connected my phone to this, right? I wanted to go into Apple CarPlay or Android Auto stuff. Basically, the Apple CarPlay or the Android Auto would take up the entire screen. I just do not have my phone connected to the screen at the current time. But coming down just a little bit more, you get dual zone automatic climate control with your temperature controls being physical with these knobs here. Then here is what the climate control stack looks like when it is on. You can see the temperature readout, the fan speed, the recirculation, and the basically where the air is blowing. So you can see right there, it basically correlates to the button that is displaying below the display, if that makes sense. So just figured I'd show that. But one thing I find kind of interesting is that you can see this is a blank button here. So why is the button to turn the climate control system on or off over here? So this is to turn that climate system on or off, which is kind of weird to me. Then you also have your hazard button at the center. As mentioned earlier, you get heated front seats as standard with 3 levels of adjustability. And then down under here, you get a little bit of storage space. You get 2 cup holders here. You get a 12-volt power outlet up there. And then coming back, let's say you wanted to control the transmission with the steering wheel mounted paddle shifters. Well, you would have to go into drive, and then you'd flip that to the left, and now you can either control the transmission with the steering wheel mounted paddle shifters, or you can control the transmission by pushing up to downshift or pulling down to upshift. So that is that. And then you also have your drive mode selector to the left of your gear shifter. So you have 3 different drive modes. You got sport mode, normal mode, and off-road mode, and you can see the animations kind of change depending on which mode you're in. Sport mode is red, normal mode is just normal, and off-road mode is kind of like that sand type of color. I'm going to leave it in normal mode. And then you get an electronic parking brake. So if you pull up on that, that illuminates in amber. That's letting me know that the parking brake is engaged. If you wanted to disengage the parking brake, you'd push your foot down on the brake, push against that, and the parking brake will disengage. And then behind that button, you have your auto hold function. So basically, let's say you're stuck in traffic, right, on I-95 or any sort of highway, and you're not moving. You're in a standstill. Basically, you could turn this on, and the vehicle will hold you in place by itself with its braking system without having to go into park. So that is a very cool feature, because then all you have to do to disengage it is push your foot on the brake, or excuse me, push your foot on the accelerator, and the vehicle will move forward again. So that is a very, very nice feature. And then these are all of your different shortcuts for the infotainment system. So this is going to shortcut you into your navigation stuff. This is going to shortcut you into your audio stuff. This is your home button, your back button, and then this is to control everything. You twist it or you push down on it to select. This is a configurable button. If I click on that, it tells you how to use it. So you can pause your screen, read that, and you can learn how to set that configurable button. And then obviously you have a volume control knob here. And if you wanted to go backwards on the track, you could push to the left. If you wanted to go forwards on the track, you push to the right. And if you wanted to mute the audio system, all you do is click down on that and the audio system will mute. But I don't know if I mentioned this, but I'm going to mention it. You do get a wireless charging pad down in here, and that comes standard with the Meridian edition. So basically, I have an iPhone 14 Pro Max, one of the bigger phones on the market, and you can see it just barely fits in the wireless charging pad, but it does fit in the wireless charging pad, which is a nice thing. And by the way, the wind is so strong right now, the car is kind of like moving from side to side. So if there was wind noise, I apologize for that again. But again, you get the terracotta wrapped in leather, terracotta colored leather wrapped armrest that is nicely padded, and you get these two individual buttons up here to open up either side. So you can either open up the driver's side, you can open up the passenger side, or you can open them both up. And then down in here, I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see it, but you get two USB-C port, or excuse me, two USB-A ports. I'd say you probably get about 10 inches of depth down in there, and probably about 4 to 6 inches of width there. So just be mindful of what you set down in there, because that space will disappear quick depending on what you're setting down in there. But this is what the dash looks like. You get that black leather, you get the terracotta stitching, and this side looks the exact same as what you get here on the driver's side. But this is what these seats look like, kind of like that baseball glove type of design, because you get that stitching going down the center of the seat. And I apologize, I don't have a better view of the seats. It's just because of the wind. But over here, you get your glove box. You get an okay amount of storage space in there, but you can fit what you need to in that glove box and a little bit more. Basically, that could be up there. That's where the owner's manual is supposed to be. Then here you get an auto-dimming rear view mirror with your HomeLink being your universal garage door opener. So you can open up 3 garage bays with those 3 buttons there. And then this is where it lets you know who is buckled and who is not buckled, and then that lets you know if your passenger airbag is on or off. Driver has an LED reading light, passenger has an LED reading light. This is your instant dome light on button to turn on all the interior dome lights. And then this is if you illuminate that in the amber, when I open up the doors, now the interior lights will not turn on. However, when that light is not illuminated, when I open up the doors, the interior lights will turn on. And then at the center, this thing comes standard with a panoramic roof. So if I pull back on that, the panoramic shade will open up. If I pull back on that one more time, this part of the sunroof will open up. That is what that looks like. Can I pull it back anymore? Nope, that is where it goes. And then let's see if you can only tilt it. I think you push up on that and that is going to tilt it. So now it is tilted. Push forward on that again and it will close back up. And if you want the shade to close, all you gotta do is push forward and the shade will begin to close. And then last but not least, you also get a spot you could set your sunglasses as well. And moving into the visors, you get a vanity mirror with a vanity light, as well as a clip right here. You could set any small paper product. And then opening up the visor itself does not slide backwards, except you do get this sliding piece that will slide out, which is definitely nice. And then the driver gets a no poop handle. The front passenger also gets a no poop handle. And that really kind of about does it for what we got going on here in these front seats. So a couple things I figured you might want to know that you get as standard. Again, you get the heated front seats, you get the wireless charging pad, you get the power front seats, 8-way driver seat, 6-way passenger seat. The driver seat does also get 2-way power lumbar. Panoramic roof. This comes with an 8-speaker audio system, no name with it. But now I'm going to throw the entire window sticker on screen, and you can take a look at the couple options this vehicle has, everything that you get as standard, but I am just going to highlight the MSRP. So the MSRP of the way that this particular 2024 CX-50 Turbo Meridian Edition is spec'd is $43,060. So I just did a video with a CX-5 carbon turbo. I don't remember the exact price of that. I believe it was like maybe $38,000 or $39,000. And that one had a Bose audio system. It had a smaller sunroof, but they are similar. It's just really a matter of which one you like the look of better, which one you like the feel of better on the interior. But the CX-50 does have a higher starting price than the CX-5 base for base. But I do want to show you what we got going on in the rear seats before moving into the driving portion of the video. So I'm going to try to block the wind and show you what the rear door panel looks like. Automatic up and down windows back here. The windows do not quite go all the way down. However, again, automatic up and down. Then you get a nicely padded armrest in that terracotta color that is leather wrapped. You get some storage space down in here. You get a grab handle. And then this is what these rear seats look like. You can fold them down from clicking on that button there, and they will fold down. But I'm going to close that back up, and we're going to step into these seats here. and we're gonna take a look at what we get going on back here. So you get an LED dome light, an OPU panel, a spot you could set your dry cleaning. You do not get a seat back pocket behind the driver's seat. However, you do get a seat back pocket behind the passenger seat. You get 2 HVAC vents, 2 USB-A ports. You get a center fold down armrest with 2 cup holders, and the armrest is nicely padded. You get the same stuff over there on the passenger side that you do here on the driver's side. And as mentioned, remember I said that that is where it's going to let you know who is buckled and who is not buckled. See what I'm saying? And now, when it comes to leg and knee room, I am adjusted behind myself. It's a little bit further back than I would normally have it, but plenty of knee and leg room. Here's another view of that knee and leg room. And when it comes to headroom, I probably have another, 3 inches of headroom left over. But I did want to mention, I just did a video with a CX-5. And that CX-5, I was adjusted basically kind of like the same that I am here in the CX-50. And I have more room in the CX-50 when it comes to the leg and knee room wise that I did in the CX-5. However, leg and knee room wise, me being 5'9", adjusted behind myself, was not an issue in the CX-5. It's just I do notice that I do have a little bit more leg room back here in the CX-50 than I did in the CX-5. Now, we're going to test something here. Okay, so basically in the CX-5, you also do get reclining second row seats, whereas in this, you do not get the reclining second row seats. However, you don't really need them because they are in a good position, but it is nice to have the opportunity to recline your seats if you do want to at a certain time. So just figured I'd point that out. But that's kind of about it for what we got going on here in the interior. So we've talked about the exterior, we've talked about the performance, and now we've talked about what's going on here in the interior. So I want to see what this thing's like to drive, as I'm assuming you guys do as well. So I'll see you guys in the driver's seat. All right, now on to the driving portion. Take a listen. Man, I just got out of a CX-5 carbon turbo, and the turbo motors are definitely the way to go. Not only do they sound pretty cool with that turbo go when you let off and when you start giving it throttle and it starts getting into boost. It's so cool, you know what I mean? I don't know if you can hear it, but it starts getting into boost at about like 2250 RPM is about where I've noticed it getting into boost. I'm gonna put it into sport mode here. Here's an acceleration. This thing will put you in your seat back. Like, it's got like respectable power. And that is one thing I really like about the turbos. And I basically said a very similar thing in the CX-5 video I just did, is that with the turbo engines, and I'm gonna mention this again, with regular fuel, you got no problem running it. You're gonna save a little bit of money. You are gonna, make a little bit less power. But if you put premium 93 octane in this, you're gonna see an additional 29 horsepower and 10 pound-feet of torque over if you put regular fuel in this thing, and you don't gotta do a tune. All you're doing is just filling it up with fuel, and the ECU does the rest. So I think that is awesome, you know what I mean? It's cool because, if you're feeling like in the mood to go fast and do some nice little accelerations, you put some premium in this, you're gonna get about 30 horsepower additional. But if you just want to save some money and you just want to cruise from point A to point B and get good fuel economy and not spend the additional money that it costs to put premium in this, well, then you're going to be totally fine putting regular in this. It's not a problem. So I really do like that. I think that is pretty cool. But moving on from, power stuff, we're going to talk about how this thing drives. So, and that power is a part about how it drives. But I got done doing a video with the CX-5 again, and I will say that I feel like this thing has a what's the word I'm looking for, a softer suspension. It's not quite as firm as the CX-5 I just did a video with. I don't think, it doesn't feel like that. The Ram TRX, it doesn't feel like it is as firm. After doing one back-to-back, this suspension in this feels a little bit more forgiving, let's say, than the CX-5. However, when it comes to CX-5 versus CX-50, it really comes down to personal preference. Which one you like the look of better, which one you like the feel of better, because I guess the suspension on this is a little bit smoother. I guess it all comes down to personal preference and what you're looking for in a vehicle. This one's going to cost a little bit more, so you can get a little bit nicer of a CX-5 for less money than a CX-50. So, you know, again, comes down to personal preference. So, oh, I'm gonna hit the light. And I got the light. Maybe I got the light by a little bit, but anyway, that's what the turbo motor is gonna get you through that light, you know, right before it turns red. So anyway, it's a really windy day out. So take a listen to what it sounds like cruising at about 40 miles an hour. I also feel like, and this could be placebo, that the insulation from the outside world, like road and wind noise wise, is less in this than the CX-5. That's just another thing I notice off the bat. Again, that could be just me, but you know, this thing just rides very, very smooth. It goes over bumps well. They adjusted the handling and stuff, so you can see when I'm doing the handling test, there's not really any body roll. So you could do like a very high speed maneuver if there's like a dog right there, and I would feel very confident in this thing being able to do a high speed maneuver at like 65 miles an hour and you be safe. You know, like you're not going to worry about like flipping. That's just how I feel doing a maneuver at about 40 miles an hour. I think you'd be fine at that higher speed. So I'm going to get into this lane, and so that's one thing I really like about Mazdas, is that they handle very, very well. And they're just great vehicles, you know what I mean? They don't cost too much to maintain, but they've got a really nice interior, but the interior is also simple at the same time. So it's easy to use day in and day out. And, you know, it's just also intuitive for, you know, people who don't maybe get technology as well. So I'm going to do a nice, just regular little-ish, above regular acceleration here for you. It's got great power, and honestly, I feel like this one feels a little bit quicker than the CX-5. Now let's test the brakes. Brakes they're all right. I feel like you got to push a little bit hard-ish to really get that, you know, slowing downness to them. So brake feel could be a little bit better, but other than that, you know, the power is great, comfortable when it comes to the suspension. The seats themselves are comfortable. I think maybe if you are like 300 pounds, I don't know how comfortable you would be in these seats, but I know as somebody who is not 300 pounds and a little bit over half of 300 pounds, I'm very comfortable in these seats. The seating position is great. The driving position is great. And also you can see the auto stop start system turned the vehicle off. And again, you have this button down here where it says I stop off. And if you click on that, then the auto stop start system won't do what it just did, which is turn the vehicle off. So honestly, I don't think this one's too intrusive. That is a really nice looking Porsche 911 right there. Love the way that looks. But once this light turns green, I'll give you a nice little acceleration and we'll get back to it. Here we go. I love hearing the blow-off valve of the turbo. I'm pretty sure that I've done a video with the non-turbo CX-50, and I can't remember which trim level it was, but I do know, and I remember that I was wishing that it had some more power, and the turbo model is what does it. You know what I mean? This makes it a better car in my personal opinion. So if you like power and you drive fast, you're definitely going to want to get a turbo. You know what I mean? The non-turbos, they're okay for the, you know, they're good for people who don't care about power and they care about fuel efficiency. But if you are somebody who likes to drive maybe faster than other people and you like to do accelerations and you like to be, you know, the one that's faster, then you're going to want to get the turbo because it's got that power, but then it also gets pretty good fuel economy as well. So I think the turbo is the way to go if it were me, and I would recommend the turbo model to people who, you know, just like that additional power. But really, to summarize this vehicle, I think it's a good value. It's comfortable, it's quick, and it's easy to use when it comes to the infotainment stuff. But that's it for today's video. If you guys did enjoy the video, please be sure to give this video a big thumbs up. Please hit that subscribe button. I'm on my journey to 100,000 subscribers, and I cannot reach my goal without your support. So again, if you enjoyed the video, if you learned anything from the video, please take a second to like, comment, and subscribe. Those things really help me reach my goals and get me one step closer to my dreams, and also looks good for my channel in the YouTube algorithm. But again, that is it for today's video. I will catch you all in the next one. Peace.